Hey guys, welcome to yet another unhaul video. I just shared one about a month ago. I shared a cool way that I'm going to be kind of rewarding myself for reading books off of my TBR shelf, my unread books, but also rewarding myself for getting rid of books. The goal here is not to have no books. It's just to make sure that the books that are on my shelf are ones I want to be reading. And I had meant to go through my TBR shelves, which, I mean, this is deceiving. If you could see all the books on there, there's quite a few. I wanted to go through them and add them to Goodreads. And so while I was doing that, I decided I may as well unhaul books now because some just didn't feel worth scanning into me. My plan had been to save that for a few months down the road when I felt desperate and needed more room in my book buying budget. If you missed my last unhaul, I'll leave it linked so that you can go see that and see what I'm talking about. Pretty much I'm just rewarding myself for completing books I've read and getting rid of books. And I've come up with a bin full of books that I want to get rid of, and so I thought I would do another unhaul video. And I'm getting rid of these books for a variety of different reasons, so I'll kind of tell you. Some of them are a little embarrassing, some of the reasons, but it is what it is. So I guess I'll start with these first two because these were not off of my TBR shelf. This one I found on my bookshelf upstairs that I just shared a tour of. This is Desperate, Hope for the Mom Who Needs to Breathe by Sarah May and Sally Clarkson. I've actually read this book and then I bought it wanting to reread it, but when I bought it, we were in the middle of fostering and I felt more like a desperate mom that needed hope and needed to breathe. I don't feel that way with older kids, so I don't see myself rereading this book, so I thought I may as well get rid of it and somebody else can read it. And then in my January reading wrap-up, I ranted about this book for a while. This is When the World Was Ours. Almost everybody that I follow, that I'm friends with on Goodreads, loves this book. Gave it like 4 or 5 stars, 4+ stars. I gave it 2 and I ranted and I really did not like, oh, books are falling. I really did not like this book. And I can see why some people liked it, but I feel like I can't properly explain the real reason I hated the book without like giving away the ending. But I also didn't enjoy the reading process, which I did share about in that wrap up. So I'm not keeping this book. Okay, now I think the rest are from my TBR shelf. The first one, this is embarrassing. This is Mysterious Mr. Quinn by Agatha Christie. I'm totally cool with collecting multiple editions of Agatha Christie books, but I already own this one in this exact same edition. So I was trying to go through and see which one was kind of in better shape. They're pretty much exactly the same. So yeah, that's embarrassing. Hopefully someone else will enjoy it. This one, The Truth According to Us by Annie Barrows. I hauled this book from a Little Free Library, I think, a year or 2 or 3 ago. I don't even remember. It's been a while, and it wasn't until I think I was filming that haul video that I read the synopsis and realized I've already read this book and I didn't really enjoy it. So why have I been keeping it? It wasn't worth scanning into Goodreads, which, let me just say, Goodreads scanner is terrible. Mine kept freezing and it was driving me nuts. I eventually just got to the point where I just typed in all the books instead of using their scanner. It's supposed to be like all cool because it can scan covers and not just barcodes, but then it was just glitching and freezing and it wasn't fun. Okay, so then some of these books just weren't worth putting in again. What's So Amazing About Grace by Philip Yancey. Actually, this might have been the same Little Free Library tour that I got these on. This is another one that I remember getting from a Little Free Library. I remember this being on my dad's shelf when I was younger, and then as I was putting it into Goodreads, I realized that I read it in 2011, and I mean, that was a long time ago. I could reread it, but I'm not actually that interested, so getting rid of that one. I think this was another Little Free Library book. See, this is the problem. Little Free Library books are easy to take out because they're free, but then you realize, oh, I'm not really going to read it anyway. This is The Red Tent. I feel like this book, I was tempted to read it because I think this is the like a retelling or somebody's take on one of the women in the Bible. No, I don't remember who, but I don't believe it's written by a Christian. So I was kind of curious. At the same time, I feel like it's just going to be super cringy, so I'm not interested. This is another little free library book, The Dutch House by Anne Patchett. I think right around the time that I pulled this out of a little free library, I heard good things, or I heard something, I don't remember, and so I was like, yeah, maybe. But I think this is historical fiction, but maybe like a little bit more on the literary side than I normally enjoy. I see somebody read this in 2020 for a book club. 2 people signed it, so that's kind of cool, but I'm not going to join them. Let's just keep going with this little free library theme. This one I pulled out and I wasn't really sure if I was going to read it, but I was like, well, I'll take it, and if I'm desperate and I'm interested, then I will. This is Richard Castle, Driving Heat. I don't even know what book number this is in the series. So this is like somebody wrote as if they were Richard Castle from the TV show, because he's always writing books about his character Nikki Heat, and always kind of curious, but yeah, I'm just not gonna do it, but it was tempting. I don't read enough like mystery detective books anymore to really justify having this one or attempting to read it, so it's just gonna go. I also have Trixie Belton book 1. I always meant to read this book, but I have had it for, I would say, like 6+ years, and I've just never read it, so it's gonna go. I've heard good things about Trixie Belton. I think she's good for kids before like the Nancy Drew series, and my daughter did enjoy it, and I'm just never gonna read it, and she's never gonna reread it. This is a book that a friend gave to me at one point and was like, here, I borrowed this book a long time ago, here it is, and like she returned it like a couple of years after borrowing it. I don't remember ever having it. This is The Mansion of Secrets. It's a Kay Tracy mystery. It says Kay and a sinister intruder match wits in a quest for treasure. Yeah, once again, just not really interested. I've had it forever and I've never even like picked it up to read it. I've just picked it up to move it around, so it's just taking up space. My TBR shelves are getting pretty full. Certain genres sections are overfull. And I did do a tour of my TBR shelves over on Patreon like fairly recently, so I'm not going to be doing one here on the YouTube channel anytime soon. If you're interested, you can join my Patreon. This is another little free library pick. It's called Maestra, and when I scanned this in, I don't think I've like ever seen a book with such a low Goodreads rating. I think it was like 2 point something. It was bad. I picked this up from a little free library, like not really knowing if I was gonna read it. I just wanted to put a book in and there was no space, so I took it. And yeah, apparently it has terrible reviews. I have no idea. I didn't read any of them. I just decided that I wasn't interested then. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. I am on the side of the people that are not big fans of Alice in Wonderland. I don't know if I've really ever read the book. I can't remember. I might have. But I'm not a fan of the movie. So I'm gonna get rid of it. My daughter is not either. So it's not like I'm even saving it for any real purpose. So goodbye. Okay, this is another one of those embarrassing ones. Thomas Hardy's Jude the Obscure. As I was scanning it in, I realized I had 2 copies of this as well. Like, and they were really close to each other on the shelf. How did I not notice? And I haven't read it yet, so like if it was one of my absolute favorites, I'd be okay with having different editions. But at this point, I don't see the point, so there we go. Okay, then we've got one last stack here. These 4 are all books that I've got from a mystery box from christianbook.com, and I wanted to be cool like some people and do a review of all the books from that box, and I think there was 10. I've read maybe 2 or 3 from it. A couple are still on my shelf, and then these 4 I'm just like, I'm not interested. I might have even unhauled a few other ones too. So this one is Beyond I Do. It's like, they were obviously very romance themed, which is not my cup of tea. And one of the books that I did read from there said romance, and it was not really a romance. So there is always that fear, like maybe I'm getting rid of a book that's really good, that isn't mainly focused on the romance. But with a cover like this, if this isn't a romance, I would be very surprised. Then I have They Danced On. Actually, this one didn't sound like a romance. This one is a family life thing, because this is about a mother or a grandmother. Yeah, and so like you're following their family through some kind of struggle. I've just never been interested in picking it up. I've never read a Christian like family story like this, but I know I'm not interested in like mainstream ones. So if you think this book or any of the books on the stack, like I would actually really enjoy them, not just that you enjoyed them, but that you think I would enjoy them, then let me know. Maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe I'll pull it out of here. But I feel fairly confident. Okay, 2 more. The Last Sacrifice. So this is like Christian historical fiction set during, doesn't say, during the time of Nero and the early church. Yeah, so I don't know. This one might be okay, but once again, like I judge books by the cover, and so I'm not really interested in it to begin with, and then the cover just doesn't draw me in, so it goes on the stack. And the last one. This looks like a book that I would have liked in high school. Step by Step. This is a crisis team series book. I mean, it's got like soap opera themes here. Don't you feel like you're in, oh, what was that really popular, well, there's multiple really popular doctor shows on TV. It feels like any of those, but obviously with a Christian twist. Oh, okay, yes, we've got a nurse who is a widow, and we've got a handsome plastic surgeon, and then we have a crisis chaplain. So yeah, that's not my kind of thing. So there you have it. That is my precarious stack of books. I've been trying to like move it closer this way, so it's a little unstable. I'm gonna be getting rid of all of those. I'm not gonna be sharing like every single video I unhaul throughout the year, because I don't want to have to wait until I have a huge stack. When I have books I want to go, I'll just bring them to little free libraries then. So thanks for joining me for this. Let me know if there's any books in here that you do think that I should pull out and actually read. Well, I may listen to you. We'll see. Thanks for being here, guys.